Hello together, welcome to our 5th inline skating advanced tutorial. In this tutorial I will show you how to power slide. In the beginner series we have already learned 7 braking techniques, but now we have reached an advanced level of skating. And so we need a much better technique to brake. And this technique will be the power slide. The power slide can be used by skating forward as well as by skating backwards. So let's begin by learning our power slides. First, let's take a detailed look at the proper posture for our power slide. Therefore, we should know the power slide is a technique by which we use one skate for braking and one skate for balancing. So for practicing proper posture, we put our body weight onto our dominate leg. Typically our dominate leg is the leg we have better balance with. Then we try to stretch the braking leg out completely towards the back and put our braking skate on the ground. While doing so, our dominate foot and our braking foot should be at an angle of about 90 degrees. Good, in the beginning we put our body weight on our dominate leg. And at the same time we try to lift our braking foot multiple times. But why? Well, we will practice our proper posture as well as our balance. And for that also try to change up the feet and legs for seeing which works better. Does it work better with the left leg or with the right leg in front? However, the perfect posture is a complete stretched out leg to back and deep bent knee in front. However, while holding the perfect position, our braking leg and our back should build one straight line. If we want the power slide works, we have to engage in power slide 100%. Because if we don't stretch our leg out 100% or if we don't bend our knee less enough, we will trip over our braking foot. But I know, in the beginning it's very hard to engage in power slide for 100%. I myself, as well as other skaters, had to overcome the fear first. For that reason I have several exercises for practicing, as well as for overcoming fear step by step. The first exercise is skating backwards slowly. Stretch your braking skate out to back and put down the skate sideways to stop instantly. While doing so, we will become familiar by using the first motion sequence, as well as proper posture for doing power slides. During the second exercise, we are using the motion sequence of the first exercise. But this time we skate faster and put down our braking skate multiple times, until we stop completely. And this motion helps us to become more familiar and more confident using the motion sequence for power slides. So our third exercise is rolling backwards and balancing on only one leg and skate. While doing that we try to stretch our braking leg out to the back, but we don't put it down on the ground. And by doing this exercise we will improve our balance for power slides and soon we will be able to shift our weight back and forth between our legs. And now it's time to do our very first power slide. For our first try, it's easiest to do it in connection by skating curves. For that, first we just skate backwards by using the showed skating technique. And hey, should you need help by using this technique, I've put a link in the description down below. Well, while skating backwards, try to make small curves to the outside. And step by step we increase the radius of curves until our outer foot is stretched out completely. This we will get by doing such a big curve with our outer foot that we skate a back curve. And now, in the moment we start skating a back curve, we try to stretch our leg out completely, as well as to deep angle the braking skate as much as we can. So listen, for our first power slides it's very important to keep our braking skate as deep bent as possible. This is necessary to have a low friction, and this is very useful for our first tries. Because the lower the friction, the less the danger of block ourselves and fall down. Good, while putting our weight onto our rolling skate, we try to keep the friction as low as we can. But as soon as we feel more comfortable, step by step we try to shift our weight onto our braking skate. And the deeper the angle of our braking skate and the more we stretch our braking leg out to the back, the easier the power slide. So if it's too hard for us, it can also be very helpful practicing power slides on smooth or slippery grounds. And while doing that, the danger to block ourselves is very low. This is good for practicing the proper posture as well as our balance. To also keep the friction as low as possible, you may want to pay attention to the following things. The first thing you should know, it's easiest to practice power slides on slippery and wet grounds. The second thing, install the hardest wheels you have, because the harder the wheels, the lower the friction. At this point it's time to practice the power slide as often as you can until you don't need to skate a curve to come into the stop. If it works and we feel more comfortable, step by step we will increase our skating speed. That means we should also practice the power slide by skating fast. And moreover, we try to use the power slide to stop exactly on a line in the front of an obstacle. If it also works, we try using power slides while skating downhill as well as on various situations. So we will get the maximum self-confidence for power slides. At this point I think you noticed that we did the power slide by skating backwards. But why? Well, it's just easier using the power slide by skating backwards. Anyway, in most situations we will need power slides while skating forwards, and for that reason we will now learn our first power slides by skating forwards. Well, in principle it works exactly the same as the power slides we've learned previously. We will use the same technique we have learned, but this time we engage into the power slide by skating forwards. So for our first practice we will stand on a flat ground. Then we try to jump 180s to land directly into the power slide position. We pay attention that our braking skate will land directly sideways to the skating direction. Furthermore, we will also try to land with a complete stretched out leg, as well as with a deep angled skate. Again, we try doing this motion with alternating legs. That means once you try that motion with your left skate in front, then try it with your right skate in front. Also try to turn left as well as to turn right. Typically it works better when we brake with our dominate leg. But why? While doing a power slide, the most force comes to our braking foot. Thus, our braking foot should be our stronger leg. Good, after we've practiced the motion sequence by slow skating, we begin skating forwards with a kind of a slalom technique. And same as before, we also try to skate a curve, but this time with each of our feet. In that moment we want to brake, we try to skate a big bow. And while skating the bow, we try to turn from skating forwards to skating backwards. For that we may use the spread eagle spin out we've learned in the previous tutorials from the beginner basics. A link for that mentioned tutorial you will find in the description down below. Next, step by step while turn around, we try doing our very first slides. For that remember to deep angle your braking skate as well as to stretch your braking leg out completely. If it's too difficult, we should try these exercises on a smooth, wet or slippery ground. There is also the possibility to use the hardest wheels we have, because the harder the wheels, the easier it is. During our first tries we will shift our weight onto our balance foot. But as we practice we should try to shift as much weight as we can onto our braking leg and skate. And if the power slide works in connection by skating a curve, it's time for the next step. Now we will try to avoid skating curves. We will try to jump 180s to land directly in the power slide. For this, if necessary, we may try it again by just standing without any speed. Then we will try it by slow skating, and for that we keep attention to the following things. While landing, try to angle your braking skate as deep as you can. Then try to push your braking skate over the ground, away from you, also if it's not necessary to stop. But why? Well, this helps us to become more comfortable to shift our weight back and forth between our legs. Next, step by step, we try to skate faster, as well as to put down our braking skate with a complete stretched out leg. And if it works, we try doing power slides in as many different situations as we can. Remember, the more deep angled our braking skate and the less weight on our braking skate, the easier it is. But the lower the angle of our braking skate and the more weight we put on our braking skate, the harder it is, but the better the friction and the faster we will stop. Perfect. Lastly, I will let you know, while practicing power slides, we will have a high wear on our wheels. But it's worth. At least we have an advanced skating level, by which we skate faster than beginners would do. And Powerslides are one of the best braking techniques to brake and stop quickly. So Powerslides will help us to avoid dangerous crashes for preventing injuries. In my opinion, every skater who skates fast should master both of these kinds of Powerslides to use them reflexively, even if you avoid using Powerslides by the reason of wear. Well, up to here, these Powerslides are the most effective braking techniques we've learned. But hey, in one of the further advanced tutorials we will also learn the parallel Powerslide. The parallel Powerslide is even better than the normal Powerslide we learned, but it's very difficult. Lastly, the Powerslides we learned are required for the parallel Powerslides.